So this year for the Belonging Conference, it's called the Unveiling. It's 2023. So I'm splitting the conference with Austin Davis. I know you guys all know who he is. And so we actually decided to use his drums again this year. We used his personal kit last year, and we decided to go ahead and roll with it again this year. And so he's a Franklin artist as well. And so his sizes is he has a 22 kick drum. He has a 13, 16, and 18. I'm not completely positive on his dimensions, so I just don't want to say it wrong. But the kick 22, 13, 16, 18. And then he uses a Black Beauty for his main snare when he plays. And then he just told me today, he has the side snare is some old school Ludwig snare. And I don't know exactly what it is, but it's got like some killing tones though, bro. It's like he's got it super cranked up. So we're using that as a side snare. For cymbals, he's with Istanbul. And so I just figured it would be easier to just go ahead and just use, because church we use Istanbul too. And I love Istanbul. I just, I'm with Heartbeat. And so I decided to just go ahead and use his cymbals too instead of swapping all the cymbals out, So we went with the 17-inch Dry Exist. That's been a staple for us at the Belonging. I know Austin uses it on a lot of his personal stuff too. Off to the left, there's I want to say it's a 19-inch Ohm crash by Istanbul, those darker crashes. And then the main crash is a 22 Brilliant Exist power crash. Those things, dude, I don't know how to explain it other than butter, bro. And so then if you're moving from left to right, then underneath the ride, there's going to be just the Istanbul clap stack. And so that's the one, we have the one with the expansion pack. And that's technically Austin's personal. That's not the church's. Most of this stuff is Austin's personal. But he's so generous. He lets us use it at church all the time. The only time we don't have it is when he's on tour. And then above that is the infamous Joey Wonker ride. I think, is it Wonker or Wonker?
Wonker. I can't.
I don't know how to say it. I normally just call it the Joey. Yeah. And that's a 24, the big boy. And it is just buttery as all. Man, it's so good. And then to the right of that is just another 22-inch Mel Lewis. I think it's a crash. It might be a ride, but it's a ride. It is a ride?
Yeah,
okay, so
I remember filming it.
22-inch Mel Lewis ride. And so two rides going on, but it's like the perfect tone. In between that combo, we have a Exist Dry Dark 10-inch splash. It's just like a little splash. It's just for like little quick little accents. It's super dry and quick. And then to the very far right, he just has another super dry Exist crash. And I want to say that's probably like a 14-inch crash. It's just like an effects type of crash. He likes to tighten it up and just hit it. And it's not a China. It doesn't sound like a China. It just sounds like this papery, trashy, quick thing.
Yeah.
He's been doing that the last like year or two, and it's just been killing, bro. So that's the setup. His drums are obviously, as you can see, they're called the Krispy Kremes. That's what Franklin calls that. And we went with DRUMEO heads on that drum set. It's all Emperors. On the snares, we go Emperor X's. That's the one with the reverse dot underneath it. But it also has more plies to it. So it's thicker than a controlled sound. It's different. And then on that side snare, it's a coated P77. Yep. And then on the kick drum, this is where Evans really shines. That EMAD 2 is a game and a world changer. It's literally a world changer. And so we do have an EMAD 2 on the kick drum, and it is doing wonders. They got a thing when they did that, bro. So I mean, that's pretty much the setup. I'm not super like into microphones, but like I told you, I have an insert you can do if you want.
Let's do it.
We are using, I don't remember who all was on this project, but I know Joe Volk and I feel like Dan McMurray and them came up with this drum throne.
Oh, no, I have a video with Dan McMurray and Joe, but it was actually Joe Volk and two other guys from Bethel. Like his buddies.
So it was a Bethel thing.
Yeah, I don't know if they're all at Bethel still. Don't quote me on that.
Was
But
it David Whitworth?
nope,
Got
it
you.
was GP,
I've heard the name GP.
and then one of the guitarist guys who I don't think lives in Reading anymore.
They're all here now.
I did an interview with all three of them for the Air Throne. So
you know more about the Air Throne than me.
I will link to that.
Nice. It's amazing. If you've never like used one, you got to get your hands on one. I don't remember how much they cost, but it is worth it.
Yeah.
For sure. So we are rocking the Air Throne up there. All DW hardware, 9000 series. You know, DW just does a thing with hardware, so everything's DW.
And then there was that Switch.
Yes, our Talkback. So what's crazy is that's kind of unique to conference. So for normal church, we have the Optigate. I think that's what it's called. It's the one with the laser on it, and if you get close enough to it, it'll open up, or if you put your hand over it, it'll just open up. That's what we normally use. But I think in an environment like an arena, it's just like we want to minimize any way of any mics opening. You have to push this button for this to open. It's either that or we just didn't have enough Optigates.
Yeah.
And so it's just like we have to figure out a different talkback situation. It's probably more like that.
Gotcha.
So I don't know the name of it, but there's a foot switch we have off to our left that you just push it. It almost looks like a guitar pedal or something. You just hold it down, and then we are able to speak to the band, front of house, and ears if we need to make any calls or changes or anything, which we normally don't do. Drummers, Austin will because he produces, and a lot of songs we do, he actually produced on. So he may get in there and start calling numbers or calling progressions if he needs to. But for the most part, it's more for communicating during rehearsals and like, hey, I need water. So yeah,
that's cool.
So yeah, that's the setup, bro.
I love it.